Rejection stings. Whether it's being ghosted by someone you cared about, turned down for a job you thought was perfect, or simply being ignored when you needed support most. But what if I told you that rejection isn't a dead end? It's actually a redirection. And the Stoics, especially Marcus Aurelius, believed that how you respond to rejection determines the course of your life. In this video, you will learn 13 powerful lessons rooted in Stoic psychology that teach you how to turn rejection into fuel, not just to survive it, but to grow stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable because of it. Let's dive in. Lesson 1. Reframe rejection as redirection. Rejection. That painful sting that reminds us we weren't chosen, weren't seen, weren't enough, at least in someone else's eyes. But here's what the Stoics believed. Rejection is never personal, unless you make it personal. In fact, they would say it's not rejection at all, it's redirection. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in Meditations, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." What does this mean? That what feels like an obstacle, what you call rejection, is not stopping you. It's guiding you. The Stoics didn't waste time sulking when doors closed. Instead, they trained their minds to ask, what is this experience trying to teach me? Where else can I go? How does this serve my growth? Let's break it down. 1. Shift your mindset from victim to student. When you're rejected, whether it's a job, a person, or an opportunity, you can either say, "Why me?" or you can say, "What now?" Stoicism teaches that you don't control outcomes. You only control your effort and your perception. The moment you reframe rejection as a teacher, not a punishment, you step into power. That job you didn't get? Maybe it would have drained your energy or blocked a better offer. That person who walked away? Maybe they weren't meant to grow with you. Life, according to Stoicism, is always working with you, not against you. But you need to open your eyes and see that redirection as divine strategy. 2. Understand the logos, the natural order. In Stoic philosophy, there's the concept of logos, the rational structure of the universe. Everything happens in alignment with nature's order. So when something doesn't go your way, the Stoics would say it wasn't meant to. Epictetus put it beautifully. Don't seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather wish that what happens the way it happens. Then you will be happy. This mindset is armor. It doesn't mean you won't feel pain. It means pain won't control you. You don't chase outcomes. You align with what is. That's emotional freedom. 3. Train yourself to say good. There's a story from modern Stoic-inspired thought leader Jocko Willink. When something goes wrong, he responds with one word, good. Didn't get promoted? Good. More time to sharpen your skills. 3. Turn pain into data. Stoics were scientists of the soul. When pain arrived, they didn't just react, they examined. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this rejection? Did I have expectations that weren't realistic? What patterns keep repeating? This isn't judgment, it's self-awareness. Pain is information. Rejection isn't just something that happens to you, it's a signal, often pointing to where you need to evolve. The moment you turn pain into data, you stop suffering emotionally and start growing intellectually. 4. Create emotional boundaries. Let's get practical. A Stoic sets boundaries, especially with emotional triggers. If social media makes you feel like you're constantly behind, log out. If someone's words keep hurting you, limit access. You can't be resilient if you're constantly raw. Detachment means building distance from what stirs emotional chaos. That doesn't make you cold, it makes you strategic with your energy. You don't have to react to everything. You don't have to answer every insult. You don't have to open every emotional wound. As Marcus Aurelius put it, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. If it is not yours, do not let it enter your mind. 5. Build inner stillness through routine. Rejection often causes chaos in the mind. The Stoics combated that with discipline, daily journaling, morning reflection, evening reviews. Why? Because structure creates stillness. You don't wait until rejection happens to become calm. You train for calm before the storm. When you meditate, journal, and reflect daily, your mind becomes a fortress. So when the world says no, you don't crumble. You're grounded. Because you've built inner peace that doesn't depend on outer approval. Emotional detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. It's the moment you step back from chaos and say, this feeling is temporary. My value is not negotiable. And this rejection does not define me. A Stoic is not emotionless, they are emotionally resilient. They feel pain, but they are not owned by pain. They hear no, but they don't internalize it. They lose something, but they never lose themselves. Detach, observe, respond with intention. That's how you win quietly, powerfully, and permanently. Lesson 3. Your value isn't defined by rejection. Rejection hurts, but what if I told you that most of that pain comes from a misunderstanding? When someone ignores you, criticizes you, or doesn't choose you, your brain starts crafting a painful story. I'm not good enough. I'm unworthy. I'll never succeed. That story? It's false. Rejection doesn't say anything about your worth. It only says something about their perspective, not your potential. Let's explore this stoically. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed." The meaning? You have the power to reframe rejection. It's not the event, it's your judgment of the event that causes suffering. Most people internalize rejection. They make it part of their identity. But wise people? They separate feedback from self-worth. Imagine you're a sculptor. You show your work to someone, and they shrug. Does that mean your art is worthless? No, it simply means it didn't connect with them. Here's the truth. You are not for everyone, and you were never supposed to be. Even the most successful, brilliant minds in history were ignored and dismissed. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple, the company he built. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. Did they stop? No, because they understood something most people don't. External rejection is not internal truth. Let's break that down. 1. Separate self from situation. You are not the job you didn't get. You are not the person who didn't text you back. You are not the client who said no. Those are events. You are identity. You are essence. You are potential in motion. So stop defining yourself by temporary circumstances. 2. Shift from ego to growth. Rejection often hits the ego, but that's good, because the ego needs humility to grow. Instead of asking, why did they reject me? Ask, what can I learn from this? Maybe your approach needs refinement. Maybe your timing was off. Maybe they're just not your audience, and that's okay. The Stoics didn't take rejection as failure. They took it as feedback. 3. Guard the gate of meaning. Nothing has meaning except the meaning you assign it. 2 people can face the same rejection. One crumbles. The other rises. Why? Because one said, I failed. The other said, this is fuel. Which will you be? 4. Understand the math of success. The most successful people in the world have the most rejections. Why? Because they try more. They risk more. They hear no more often because they chase bigger yeses. Rejection isn't the opposite of success. It's the path to success. The only real failure is quitting. 5. Affirm your worth internally. Every time you face rejection, repeat this. This is not about my worth. This is a step in my growth. I am becoming more. You don't need everyone to like you. You don't need every door to open. You only need to keep walking forward. And that starts by reclaiming your power. Lesson 4. Embrace the obstacle as the way. In the world of Stoicism, one principle echoes through centuries. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius. Let that sink in. What blocks you builds you. What delays you develops you. What rejects you redirects you. Most people think rejection is a dead end. Stoics see it as a signal, a signpost that points toward growth, clarity, and resilience. Think about it. If everything in life went smoothly, would you really grow? You grow stronger because you're tested. You become wiser because you're challenged. You get tougher because life doesn't go your way. Let's dive deeper into how Stoics turn obstacles, especially rejection, into opportunity. 1. Rejection reveals what needs reinforcement. When you're rejected by a job, a person, an opportunity, it stings. But instead of spiraling, Stoicism teaches you to observe. What was weak in your strategy? What can be sharpened in your mindset? What part of you was relying on external approval? This reflection turns pain into power. The Stoic doesn't say, "Why me?" They say, "What now?" Every rejection becomes a diagnostic tool, showing you where to build armor and where to grow roots. 2. Detachment from the outcome equals inner freedom. A key Stoic idea is letting go of what you don't control. You control your actions. You don't control how others respond to them. When you detach from needing a specific result, you become unstoppable. Most people fear rejection because they are attached to approval, to success, to validation. But imagine moving through life with this mindset. If they accept me, I keep growing. If they reject me, I keep growing. That's emotional invincibility. Detachment is not apathy, it's clarity. You still care deeply about your goals, but your worth isn't tied to the outcome. 3. Rejection redirects you toward the right path. Sometimes rejection is just redirection in disguise. Think back to a time when something didn't work out, only to realize later it wasn't meant for you. Maybe the job would have drained you. Maybe the relationship would have limited you. Maybe the opportunity was too small for your vision. The Stoics believe the universe operates in alignment with reason and fate. If something is removed from your path, it's because there's a better route forward. So don't mourn the closed door. Say thank you and keep walking. 4. Obstacle builds the inner fortress. You can't be broken by rejection if you've already built your identity on something deeper. Not likes, not followers, not promotions, not praise, but on virtue, discipline, wisdom, patience, strength. When your foundation is solid, rejection is just weather. It may shake the walls, but it never cracks the core. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, faced betrayal, illness, war, and constant pressure. Yet his writings remain calm, steady, and composed. Why? Because he trained himself to welcome difficulty as a teacher, not an enemy. 5. Reframe the narrative. From victim to warrior. You have a choice in every rejection. Play the victim or rise as a warrior. The victim asks, "Why is this happening to me?" The warrior says, "This is happening for me." Use rejection as fuel. Use it as a training ground for your mind. Use it to write a better story. Because here's the truth. The obstacle is the way. That pain, it's making you powerful. That delay, it's developing your discipline. That no, it's preparing you for a better yes. So the next time rejection comes your way, don't run from it. Face it. Thank it. Grow through it. Because every no from the world can become a louder yes from within. Lesson 5. Control your inner narrative. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself and your way of thinking. Marcus Aurelius. When rejection hits, the pain isn't just in the act itself, it's in the story you tell yourself afterward. She didn't call back, I must not be good enough. They didn't hire me, I'm probably not talented. They ignored my message, I'm clearly not important. But pause. Who wrote that script? You did. And that means you can rewrite it. In the Stoic worldview, your mind is the final frontier. It's the one thing that no rejection, no enemy, no crisis can ever touch unless you allow it. Let's explore how to master your inner dialogue and control your internal narrative. 1. Rejection is interpretation, not fact. When someone ignores you, that's an event. When you say they hate me or I'm worthless, that's your interpretation of the event. And that's where pain is born. Stoicism trains you to separate the event from the emotion. You didn't get rejected, you got feedback. You weren't dismissed, you were redirected. You're not unworthy, you're unmatched for them. This shift in perspective gives you your power back. Remember Epictetus' core teaching. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. 2. Label thoughts, then let them go. Rejection often triggers an avalanche of thoughts. I always mess up. I'll never be successful. They don't see my value. Instead of spiraling, the Stoic mind observes. You become the watcher of your thoughts, not the victim of them. So when negative thoughts show up, don't resist, just label them. That's fear. That's insecurity. That's my ego talking. By naming them, you remove their grip. You separate the real you, your reason, your virtue from the storm in your head. 3. Use rejection as a mirror, not a weapon. Rejection isn't proof that you're broken. It's a mirror reflecting where you can improve. If you let it, it becomes a teacher. Instead of saying, I wasn't good enough, ask, what can I learn here? Where can I sharpen my skills? Was I seeking approval too hard? The Stoic doesn't chase perfection. They chase improvement. And rejection is a sharp, painful, but effective tool for growth. 4. Affirm your identity, not your ego. Your ego says, I need to be liked. I need to be chosen. I need to be the best. Your identity says, I am disciplined. I am honest. I am resilient. Rejection bruises the ego, but it can build the identity if you choose to affirm your core values over your fragile feelings. You don't have to believe everything your ego whispers. Instead, speak to yourself like this. They rejected the version of me they saw, not the truth of who I am. That kind of mental strength? That's Stoicism in action. 5. Curate your inputs. Protect your mind. Most people flood their minds with noise, clickbait, gossip, comparison. Then they wonder why they fall apart after rejection. You must protect your mental space like a temple. What you watch, read, scroll, and listen to becomes your internal narrative. If you're constantly absorbing toxic content, you'll speak to yourself with toxic words. If you fill your world with wisdom, strength, and clarity, you'll begin to think like a Stoic. So, replace TikTok rabbit holes with timeless philosophy. Replace envy with curiosity. Replace doom scrolling with journaling. Your narrative is shaped by what you feed your mind. Feed it well. There will be days rejection knocks the wind out of you, but you don't have to collapse. You can pause, breathe, and respond with grace, with reason, with power. You don't control others' decisions, but you control your interpretation. And in that control lies your peace. Write a better narrative. Because when your mind is aligned, rejection becomes a whisper, not a war. Lesson 6. Embrace voluntary discomfort. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Seneca. Most people run from discomfort. The Stoic walks toward it intentionally. Why? Because comfort never built a strong mind. And if rejection shakes you, it's a sign you've lived too long in ease. Voluntary discomfort is a Stoic discipline. It means choosing the difficult path, not because you like pain, but because you want power over it. When you face discomfort on your own terms, rejection loses its grip. 1. What is voluntary discomfort? It's not self-harm. It's self-mastery. It means you deliberately place yourself in situations that challenge your body, mind, and ego. Things like, I waking up earlier than usual, taking cold showers, fasting for a day, speaking publicly even if afraid, saying no when it's easier to people please, putting your phone away for a full 24 hours. These are controlled stressors. And just like lifting weights, where you tear muscle to grow stronger, voluntary discomfort tears entitlement so resilience can grow. 2. Why does it help with rejection? Because rejection is a shock to the system. You weren't expecting to be ignored. You didn't plan for failure. You were comfortable, confident, unprepared. But when you train yourself to be uncomfortable, rejection becomes less of a threat and more of a training session. Imagine two people. One faces rejection after years of comfort. It destroys them. The other has built emotional armor through discomfort. It bruises, but it doesn't break them. Who would you rather be? 3. Seneca's practice. Seneca, a Roman Stoic, was one of the richest men in Rome. Yet once a month he would dress in rags and eat stale bread. He would ask himself, "Is this what I feared?" He was rehearsing poverty, failure, and loss to remove their power, so that if one day he truly lost everything, he would already be mentally prepared. That's not fear. That's Stoic foresight. You can do the same. Spend a day off social media. Eat the simplest food you can. Take a cold shower. Try sleeping on the floor for a night. It's not punishment. It's preparation. 4. Control what you can, endure what you must. Voluntary discomfort trains you to control your response, not your environment. You can't always control rejection, but you can train your body not to panic. Train your mind not to spiral. Train your emotions to breathe instead of break. This makes you anti-fragile stronger because of difficulty, not in spite of it. As Marcus Aurelius said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. 5. Everyday practices for you. Here's how to apply voluntary discomfort right now. Wake up an hour earlier than you need to. Use it for silence. Skip a luxury. Take public transport instead of a ride. Speak your truth in a situation where you normally stay quiet. Go a day without sugar, caffeine, or entertainment. Ask someone for something and risk being told no. You'll feel resistance. That's the point. Discomfort sharpens your will. And when your will is sharp, rejection becomes dull. Discomfort is not your enemy, it's your trainer. When you choose discomfort regularly, you're no longer shocked by pain. You're familiar with it. So when life hands you a no, when someone leaves, when your idea is laughed at, you don't collapse. You nod. You breathe. You adapt. That is the Stoic path. And if you walk it long enough, you'll realize you no longer fear rejection. You welcome it, because you know who you're becoming. Lesson 7. Turn rejection into fuel for mastery. The obstacle on the path becomes the path. Never forget, within every obstacle is an opportunity to improve our condition. Marcus Aurelius. Rejection stings, but it only stings because we let it. What if, instead of shrinking after rejection, you used it to rise? What if you could convert pain into power? That's what Stoics do. They transmute rejection into a tool for mastery. 1. Rejection is a feedback loop. Rejection isn't always personal. It's a signal, a mirror, a form of feedback often disguised as failure. The Stoic doesn't ask, "Why did they reject me?" They ask, "What can I learn from this?" Were you unprepared? Did you misunderstand the situation? Or were you simply in the wrong room? Rejection sharpens self-awareness like nothing else. While others complain or blame, the Stoic reflects. Because every rejection reveals a gap in your skill, your timing, or your expectations. Once you see that gap, you can close it. 2. Embrace the craft, not the outcome. People fear rejection because they chase approval. But approval is not mastery. Stoics don't seek applause, they seek alignment with their principles. Rejection doesn't stop them because their identity is not tied to being liked. A true Stoic wakes up and asks, "What craft am I improving today? What skill am I refining regardless of praise?" The rejected writer keeps writing. The ignored artist keeps painting. The failed speaker keeps showing up on stage. Why? Because their goal isn't fame. It's excellence. And excellence requires rejection. 3. The rejection log technique. Here's a Stoic-inspired tool. The rejection log. It's simple but powerful. Every time you're rejected by a person, opportunity, or system, write it down. Note what you asked for, who said no, why you think it happened, what you felt, what you'll do differently next time. Then thank the moment. Don't bury it. Study it. This practice removes shame and turns rejection into data. Over time, you'll spot patterns in your behavior, tone, approach, or timing. You'll get smarter, bolder, stronger, and rejection will stop feeling like an attack and start feeling like a classroom. 4. Marcus Aurelius faced constant rejection. He wasn't just an emperor. He was a philosopher surrounded by betrayal. Senators plotted against him. People ignored his reforms. Friends failed him. Did he lash out? No. He wrote in his private journal, "When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger." That's the core of Stoicism. Turn inward. Refine yourself. Let rejection make you better, not bitter. 5. Use no to sharpen your focus. Not every opportunity is meant for you. Sometimes rejection is redirection, a gift disguised as loss. That job you didn't get? It pushed you toward entrepreneurship. That person who ghosted you? They made space for someone aligned with your values. When the world says no, say next. Don't stay stuck in begging mode. The Stoic builds, learns, refocuses. You can't avoid rejection, but you can refuse to let it define you. Let it refine you, push you, teach you, sharpen you. Treat it as a sparring partner, not an enemy. Because mastery is not born in applause. It's born in silence, in lonely practice, in every ignored email, every unanswered call, every door that slams in your face. And yet you keep going. That's the Stoic way. That's the warrior's mindset. Let rejection build your legacy. Lesson 8. Train your mind to withstand silence. If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment about it. And it is in your power to wipe out this judgment now. Marcus Aurelius. Rejection doesn't always come as a loud no. Sometimes it's silence. You send the message, no reply. You make the offer, no response. You show up, and no one notices. That silence can feel louder than rejection itself. But a Stoic understands. Silence is not a verdict. It's a test. A test of your internal stability. A test of how much you need external validation. A test of whether you're truly doing this for the right reasons. So, let's break down how to master silence the Stoic way. 1. Detach from the outcome, attach to the process. Most people don't fear silence. They fear what silence might mean. They don't like me. I failed. I'm not enough. But these are interpretations, not facts. The Stoic knows events are neutral. What you attach to them, that's where your suffering begins. You post a video and get 3 views. You email a proposal, no response. The amateur spirals. The Stoic? They log it. They learn. They improve. Why? Because they're not doing it for the applause. They're doing it for the craft, for the mission, for the inner code they live by. Silence doesn't stop them. It sharpens them. 2. Expect silence and rehearse your response. Stoicism trains you to expect resistance. Marcus Aurelius didn't expect praise. He expected challenge. He expected people to ignore his wisdom. And still he wrote. Still he governed. Still, he showed up fully. That's the mindset you must carry. Before you send anything out into the world, assume it might be ignored. Then ask, will I still keep going? If the answer is no, your motive isn't solid yet. Build your foundation on purpose, not applause. 3. Silence doesn't equal rejection. This is huge. Just because no one replied doesn't mean your work wasn't good. People are busy. People overlook things. People need time. Some of your greatest impact will happen quietly in people you may never meet. That message you sent, it may not get a reply, but it could change someone's thinking forever. That video you posted, maybe it only got 20 views, but one of those viewers is building a business now. The Stoic doesn't obsess over numbers. They obsess over truth, discipline, and clarity. And silence is no match for clarity. 4. Use the quiet time to refine. If no one's responding good, you have space to improve. No eyes, no pressure, no spotlight. This is your gym, your dojo, your time to master your message, your voice, your mission. The early stages of any great journey are filled with silence. Every YouTuber with 1 million subs once had 0. Every writer had articles no one read. Every speaker spoke to empty rooms. They didn't stop, because it wasn't about who was listening. It was about who they were becoming. 5. Build an inner scoreboard. Here's a powerful Stoic practice. Every day, write down what you did that aligns with your principles. Not likes, not views, not praise, but actions. Did you wake up early? Did you publish your post? Did you send the proposal? Then you won. That's your scoreboard. Because external silence doesn't mean internal failure. Rebuild your measure of success. Let your discipline be the voice that replies when the world is quiet. Stoics don't just endure silence. They train inside it. They understand that the greatest transformations happen alone, in the silent gym at 5 a.m., in the empty studio with no fans, in the journal no one will read. Rejection might be loud, but silence is the long game. And if you can master that, you become unstoppable. No applause needed. No replies required. Just a soul, anchored in purpose. Lesson 9. Control the frame. Don't let rejection define you. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. Rejection doesn't hurt because of the event itself. It hurts because of the story you tell yourself afterward. They ignored me, so I must not be good enough. She left me, so I must be unlovable. They didn't hire me, so I must not be talented. You see the rejection, but what really wounds you is the frame you put around it. So what does a Stoic do? They control the frame. They reclaim the story, because when you own the meaning of rejection, you own your power. Let's break down how. 1. The event is neutral. You add the drama. A Stoic looks at rejection the way a scientist looks at data. It's just feedback, just a result, just a data point. The job didn't call back? Data. The girl didn't respond? Data. The video flopped? Still just data. It's your emotional commentary that gives rejection teeth, and that commentary can be rewritten. Start asking yourself, what else could this mean? How could this actually help me? What lesson is hiding inside this? You're not lying to yourself. You're taking back authorship. A Stoic doesn't allow external noise to write their inner script. 2. Reframe rejection as redirection. Every no has a hidden next. You wanted that one opportunity. It closed. Now what? Most people spiral. A Stoic pivots. They trust that the closed door wasn't the destination, just a detour. This is reframing in action. Example. Marcus Aurelius didn't want to rule during plagues and war, yet he reframed his suffering as duty, as growth, as refinement of soul. So when someone walks away from you, what if that's relief? What if they cleared space for the right people to show up? When your idea gets shut down, what if that's a chance to evolve it? What if it was too small and life pushed you to think bigger? Stoicism says, you cannot control what happens, but you can always control what it means. 3. Make the frame serve your growth. Here's a mental habit that changes everything. Make every rejection your coach. You don't just get rejected, you study it. Why did they say no? Where could I improve? How can I evolve so this doesn't happen again? Not out of shame, but strategy. This is how you make pain productive. In Stoic terms, obstacle becomes the path. Rejection becomes the training ground. You shift from victim to student. And students? They grow. They ascend. They become unshakable. 4. Let go of external definitions. Most people let the world define their worth. If they're praised, they feel confident. If they're ignored, they feel worthless. But that's slavery. Stoics break those chains. Marcus Aurelius would journal daily not to impress anyone, but to reinforce his own inner compass. So if someone doesn't like you, cool, you still have value. If they don't believe in your idea, fine, you still believe in yourself. Rejection doesn't reduce you. It reveals you. It shows you where you still crave external approval. And that's where your inner work begins. 5. Rejection only wins if you quit. Let's be blunt. Rejection has no power unless you stop. You could be one more attempt away from a breakthrough. But if you take rejection as a permanent label, you lose. The Stoic thinks differently. They expect resistance. They expect indifference. They expect no. But they keep showing up, because their mission is bigger than their ego. They don't ask, how do I avoid rejection? They ask, how can I grow strong enough that rejection doesn't matter? That's the Stoic mindset. That's the unbeatable frame. Rejection doesn't write your story. You do. Don't hand over the pen to silence, judgment, or failure. Pick it up. Reframe. Rewrite. Rise. Because rejection isn't the end. It's just the first draft of a better beginning. Lesson 10. Use rejection to strengthen your inner core. Just that you do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter. Marcus Aurelius. When most people get rejected, they collapse inward. Their confidence takes a hit. Their energy drains. They start questioning their identity. Maybe I'm not enough. Maybe I shouldn't try again. But a Stoic? A Stoic sees rejection as a test of core strength, not physical, but internal. Because the real battlefield is not out there. It's in here, your thoughts, your beliefs, your values. And rejection is the weight you use to train that core. Let's break down how. 1. Your identity must be built on internal standards. Most people define themselves by external validation. They clapped, I must be talented. She replied, I must be attractive. They approved, I must be valuable. But what happens when they don't clap? Don't reply? Don't approve? You crumble. Because your foundation is weak. A Stoic doesn't build their worth on applause. They build it on alignment with their values. Rejection doesn't shake them, because they weren't leaning on others to begin with. Instead, they ask, did I act with integrity? Was I honest? Did I give my best? If the answer is yes, then rejection is irrelevant. Your strength comes from within, not from their response. 2. Rejection is feedback for fortification. You don't become strong by avoiding failure. You become strong by meeting it and responding with growth. That cold email you sent that got ignored? Improve it. That person who walked away from you? Reflect, then level up your communication or presence. That idea you shared that was dismissed? Refine it, rebuild it, relaunch it. In Stoicism, the enemy is never rejection. The enemy is stagnation. If every rejection makes you tougher, smarter, or sharper, then it was never truly a loss. It was a rep in your mental gym. 3. Don't personalize the pain. Observe it. Here's a powerful Stoic practice. Emotional detachment. Not numbness, not coldness. Just distance between stimulus and response. When you get rejected, don't rush into interpretation. Don't say, they don't like me. Say, that person declined. That's it. No story, no spiral. Treat rejection as an event, not a definition. Ask yourself, what actually happened? What assumptions am I adding on top? Can I view this as a passing moment, not a permanent wound? Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself, this too shall pass. Even pain, even failure. You aren't your rejection. You're the observer of it. And observers don't break. They learn. 4. Core strength means moving forward anyway. Stoic resilience isn't about avoiding pain. It's about walking forward with it. Let's say you pitch your business idea and they laugh. A weak core collapses. I'm embarrassed. I'm done. A strong core stands. They didn't see it. I'll find those who do. Here's the Stoic truth. The world is not required to believe in you. But you are. Every rejection is asking, do you still believe? Will you keep building? Is your mission real? Or just a fantasy until it gets hard? When your core is strong, you don't flinch. You move forward with fire, with clarity. You show up again, and that alone makes you unstoppable. 5. You grow stronger with every rejection you endure. Think of a tree in the wind. If it's weak, the storm snaps it. But if it's flexible, rooted, and used to resistance, it bends, then rises again stronger than before. You're the same. Every rejection you endure without losing yourself is one more layer of Stoic armor, one more layer of calm under pressure, one more layer of clarity in chaos, one more step toward unshakable peace. So don't just try to survive rejection. Use it. Make it your training. Make it your sharpening stone. Make it part of your story, because that's what true core strength looks like. Not needing approval, not chasing praise, but walking forward calm, grounded, and free. Rejection isn't your weakness. It's your weight, your challenge, your mirror. And every time you face it with discipline and clarity, your inner core hardens into something no one can take from you. That's Stoic strength. That's what lasts. Lesson 11. Don't let rejection define your future. Choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been. Marcus Aurelius. There's a dangerous belief most people carry after being rejected. This is who I am now. They apply permanent meaning to temporary pain. Get dumped? I'm unlovable. Get fired? I'm a failure. Get ignored? I'm invisible. But here's the truth. Rejection doesn't define you. Your response to it does. And Stoicism teaches us something powerful. You always have the power to choose your story. 1. The story you tell yourself after rejection matters most. Rejection is just a signal. But the narrative you build around it, that's what shapes your future. Some people use rejection as proof they're not good enough. Others use it as fuel to get better, wiser, and stronger. Both people got rejected. Only one person decided to grow. So when you're rejected, don't ask, what's wrong with me? Ask, what can I learn here? Or better yet, how can I grow from this? Because growth, not guilt, is the Stoic path forward. 2. Detach from the outcome, recommit to the process. One of the central teachings of Stoicism is this. You can't control the outcome. You can only control your actions. So if you did your best, whether it was a job interview, a date, a pitch, a performance, and it didn't go your way, that doesn't mean you're a failure. It means the outcome was out of your control. What is in your control? Showing up again, practicing, learning, staying centered. Rejection hurts most when we tie our identity to results. Instead, tie your identity to your effort. Then even in defeat, you still win. 3. Refuse to let someone else's no become your inner dialogue. The most damaging part of rejection is what happens afterward. The inner voice that starts echoing the rejection louder than the event itself. They said no becomes I'm not good enough. They didn't pick me becomes no one ever will. They ignored me becomes I'm worthless. This is where Stoic discipline comes in. You must take back control of your mind. Remind yourself, their opinion is not your identity. Their silence is not your sentence. Their rejection is not your reality. You are not what they said or didn't say. You are what you continue to become. Don't internalize rejection. Intercept it. Process it. Then let it go. 4. The future is built by those who keep showing up. Here's something the Stoics understood deeply. Resilience is the key to mastery. You will not be defined by a single no, but you can be defined by your refusal to give up. The author who was rejected 20 times, but kept writing. The artist whose work no one noticed until they did. The entrepreneur who failed until one idea worked. What separated them from everyone else? They kept showing up, not because they were sure of success, but because they were committed to growth, truth, and service. So ask yourself, can I continue even when unrecognized? Can I stay faithful to my path, even when the world turns away? Can I write, speak, build, and love again, even after the pain? If the answer is yes, then your future is already being rewritten. 5. Rejection today doesn't cancel your destiny tomorrow. The Stoics believed in fate, but not in the passive, sit and wait kind of way. They believed fate was shaped through action, through challenge, and through the courage to walk toward your best self, even when the road is hard. Just because someone said no, just because you were ignored, denied, passed over, doesn't mean your story is over. It means you're in the middle of the chapter called Becoming, and that chapter is where most people quit. But you're still here. You're still learning. You're still growing. And that means your destiny is still unfolding. Don't let today's no steal tomorrow's yes. You're not done. You're just getting started. Rejection is not a stop sign. It's a redirection, a sharpening tool, a message that says, not here, not now, but keep going. Let your scars become stories. Let your pain become power. And let your rejections become the reason you rise. You don't need anyone to approve of your future. You just need to believe in it and build it one step at a time. Lesson 12. Master the art of indifference, the Stoic shield. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. Imagine someone insults you, ghosts you, rejects your offer, lies to your face. What do? If you're like most people, your emotions hijack you. You get angry. You overthink. You spiral into frustration and self-doubt. But a true Stoic? They remain calm, centered, unmoved. How? Through the art of indifference, not because they don't care, but because they know what's worth caring about. This is what the Stoics called apatheia, a state of rational equanimity, where external events don't disturb your internal peace. And in the face of rejection, apatheia becomes your greatest shield. Let's explore how to build it. 1. Differentiate between what's up to you and what isn't. This is the foundation of Stoicism. You must learn to separate the controllable from the uncontrollable. Here's what's up to you: your effort, your intentions, your character, your interpretation. Here's what's not up to you: other people's opinions, their response, their moods, their timing. When you get rejected, ask yourself, was I in control of that outcome? If not, release it. Why suffer for what you cannot command? The Stoic doesn't fight the wave. They ride it. 2. Indifference is not apathy. It's discipline. Being indifferent doesn't mean you're careless or emotionless. It means you've trained yourself to respond, not react. Let's say you applied for a job. You were qualified. You prepared. You followed up. But they still picked someone else. The average person complains, blames, feels defeated. The Stoic observes, learns, moves forward. They don't crumble. They course correct. Why? Because they never expected the world to be fair or people to be perfect. They expected reality, and they trained for it. That's not cold, that's strength. 3. Detach from praise and criticism equally. Most people think rejection is painful because it's negative. But in reality, it only hurts because you've been addicted to the opposite, approval. The truth? If you crave praise, you'll fear criticism. If you depend on attention, you'll dread indifference. If you seek validation, you'll be crushed by rejection. The Stoic path is different. I am what I am, whether praised or ignored. Whether the world claps or turns away, your mission stays the same. Because your self-worth isn't borrowed, it's built. Detachment is not a lack of feeling. It's the refusal to let those feelings rule your life. 4. Adopt the view from above. Marcus Aurelius had a powerful mental exercise. He imagined looking down at life from high above, like from the stars. From that perspective, one rejection is tiny. One no is dust. One failed conversation is a drop in the ocean. This shift gives you proportion, and proportion gives you peace. The next time you feel the sting of rejection, zoom out. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week, a month, a year? Usually it won't. So why let it control you now? You are not the center of the universe, and that's freeing, because it means your problems aren't either. 5. True power is calm in the face of chaos. Indifference isn't about shutting down emotionally. It's about standing strong in emotional storms. When someone insults you, you don't need to insult back. When someone ghosts you, you don't need to chase. When someone doubts you, you don't need to prove. Because your worth isn't on trial, and your peace isn't negotiable. The Stoic learns to say, I am not shaken. I remain unmoved. I walk forward regardless. This is not arrogance. It's self-possession. It's being rooted so deeply in your values, no storm can pull you from the ground. Indifference is not weakness. It is supreme inner strength. To master it is to become free from the control of others, free from the roller coaster of emotions, free from the fear of rejection. When you learn to say, they rejected me, and I'm still whole, then no one holds power over your peace again. That's Stoicism. That's your shield. And once you wear it, nothing and no one can break you. Lesson 13. Rejection is redirection. Follow the inner logos. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Marcus Aurelius. You've heard it before. Everything happens for a reason. But the Stoics would refine that. Everything happens according to nature, according to the logos. Rejection? It's not a punishment. It's a message, a signal from the universe, or what the Stoics called logos, the rational structure that governs everything. When someone says no, Stoicism teaches you not to collapse, but to listen. Because often, that no is just a not this path. 1. What is the logos? The Stoics believed in a guiding, principal logos, a divine intelligence that flows through all things. It doesn't mean fate is fixed. It means nature has order, and your job? Align with it. So when life rejects you, whether it's a job, relationship, opportunity, or dream, it may be removing what isn't yours to redirect you toward what is. The modern mind sees rejection as failure. The Stoic mind sees rejection as correction, not a dead end, a detour. 2. Stop asking, why me? Start asking, what next? When we're rejected, it's easy to spiral into self-pity. Why did they ignore me? Why didn't I get chosen? What's wrong with me? But those questions trap you. Instead, shift your frame. What is this teaching me? Where is life nudging me next? How can I grow through this? Rejection becomes redirection. When you let go of entitlement and embrace adaptation, you weren't owed that opportunity, but you are owed your response. And that's where your power lives. 3. Detach from outcomes, attach to effort. You don't control outcomes. You control input. How hard you prepare. How clear your message is. How intentional your actions are. That's Stoicism. When you detach from the result and anchor yourself in effort, rejection becomes less painful because your self-worth is no longer attached to other people's reactions. As Epictetus said, do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather wish that what happens happen the way it does, then you will be happy. You can't always win, but you can always act rightly. That's your job, and it's enough. 4. Rejection protects you from what's not meant for you. Let this sink in. That person who left you might have distracted you from someone better. That company that rejected your application might have saved you from a toxic workplace. That friend who betrayed you might have exposed what you refused to see. You think life is denying you, but sometimes it's defending you. You just don't see it yet. The Stoics didn't just accept rejection, they trusted it. Even Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, journaled his pain, his failures, his doubts. But he always came back to this. Live according to nature. In other words, don't fight the flow. Flow with it. 5. From pain to purpose, you become your own guide. Here's where it all comes together. Every rejection makes you stronger, trains your patience, clarifies your direction, sharpens your identity. Because when you're not chosen, when you're excluded, when you're overlooked, you're forced to go inward. And that's where the real work begins. You stop living by the world's applause. You stop shaping yourself to be accepted. And you start building yourself into someone unshakable. That's what Stoicism is all about. Mastering the mind, anchoring in virtue, trusting the Logos, living with calm amidst chaos. Rejection becomes your fire, and from it you forge character. Final word. Rejection doesn't ruin you. It reveals you. It shows you what you're clinging to. It shows you what you fear. It shows you where you must grow. If you're rejected, so what? You still have your reason. You still have your principles. You still have your power to act rightly. You still have the Logos within. Follow that, trust that, and you'll never fear rejection again. Because the Stoic doesn't wait for acceptance. The Stoic accepts themselves, and from that inner anchor, nothing moves them. Not failure, not silence, not even the word no. And if this message helped you see rejection in a new light, don't leave empty-handed. Subscribe to Echo Mindset, where ancient wisdom meets modern power. Every week we dive deep into Stoic psychology, mindset shifts, and emotional mastery to help you become the version of yourself that no rejection can touch. Until next time, stay calm, stay grounded, and keep moving forward with reason, with strength, with Echo Mindset.